Coming up on Cronkite News, NASCAR debuted new cars at the beginning of this season, but are they creating more problems than solutions?
Then ASU hosted a global soccer panel. Find out which Olympian made an appearance.
And later, the candidates for U.S. Senate faced off. We'll break down their thoughts on the top issues for Arizona voters.
Cronkite News starts now.
Good evening and welcome to Cronkite News on Arizona PBS. I'm Edison LaCour.
And I'm Nikki Pica. Thank you for joining us. The brand new Gen 7 race car debuted at the start of the 2022 NASCAR Cup Series season. As Cronkite News reporter Michelle Aaron tells us, the new design has led to a number of concerns.
NASCAR drivers are growing increasingly concerned about their safety in the new Gen 7 race cars after a disastrous race at Texas Motor Speedway that saw a record number 16 caution flags, shattering the previous record of 13. Tucson's own Alex Bowman was diagnosed with a concussion after hitting the wall early at Texas. Bowman is the second straight driver to suffer a concussion in the new race cars. He will sit out for another straight race. Other well-respected drivers, like Kevin Harvick and Denny Hamlin, have expressed strong disdain at NASCAR over the new cars, tweeting that it is unacceptable that NASCAR is not addressing driver concerns. However, there is some belief that these issues will be worked out the more they race in these cars.
It's a little bit of what we're learning about these cars, these tires, everything. I think the guys are doing a great job, trying to learn from all these issues so we don't have them going forward. But like I said, it's still a learning process.
3 drivers also blew out tires while they had the lead. The new race cars produce different loads, punishing the right rear tires. The wheels also feature a single lug nut design as opposed to the traditional 5 lug nut design of previous generations.
I think we'll continue to make improvements, and everyone will do everything they can to try and help the reliability and the durability of the tires. Certainly, as the teams learn more about this car, we're going to be finding ways to push this car through the corners.
NASCAR says they are attempting to address issues with the next-gen cars as they arise. So far, they've had an outstanding track record on car and driver safety over the last 20 years. A driver has not been killed in one of NASCAR's top 3 national series since 2001. In Fort Worth, Michelle Aaron, Cronkite News.
Phoenix Raceway will host the NASCAR Cup Series Championship on Sunday, November 6.
ASU hosted a global soccer panel at Sun Devil Stadium, with the World Cup right around the corner. The panel celebrated the 50th anniversary of Title IX and included women's soccer legend Brianna Scurry. Scurry showed her documentary, answered questions, and signed copies of her book. She even brought her Olympic medals for the crowd to pass around. After the viewing of her documentary, The Only, that touches on her life and challenges, Scurry discussed the juxtaposition of how far the country has come since Title IX, but also how far it has yet to go.
For example, the 50-year anniversary of Title IX was the exact same week that the Supreme Court overturned Roe v. Wade. And so then you have that, and then you have the equal pay CBA signed and delivered. And then you have the report about the NWSL comes out right around the corner.
Scurry continues to share her story and her fight for the equal rights of LGBTQ plus women of color within the sports industry.
Phoenix Rising FC held Indigenous Peoples Night at their game against New York Red Bulls 2. The night included activities honoring Arizona's local tribes, including the traditional kickball game of Shawnee Geevil. Before the game, a traditional Native American basket dance was performed by members of the Huhu-Gom Heritage Center. Plus, the Rising partnered with local Native American artist Paul Molina, a graphic designer from the Gila River Indian community, to design a commemorative scarf. Proceeds from the sale of the scarf benefit the local Kumaki Boys and Girls Club.
Non-tribal businesses, bigger corporations wanting to reach out to the community. I think that's a great thing, you know, because not only that, they're being educated on, you know, whose land are they on, but also what's the purpose of this. It's more symbolic.
It's our home in their home, and they've welcomed us with open arms since last year. And it's a great opportunity. It's a great opportunity to celebrate them. It's a great opportunity for us to show them how important they are to us.
ASU Swimming is back. Leon Marchand, arguably the best college swimmer in the country, is gearing up for another incredible season. After breaking multiple records this summer at the World Championships in Budapest, Cronkite News reporter Jacob Flores gives us more insight on what to expect out of the star swimmer this year.
ASU sophomore Leon Marchand is back in the pool, hoping to ride the wave of momentum from the past summer where he nearly broke Michael Phelps' record in the 400-meter individual medley at the World Championships in Budapest.
Leon Marchand.
The French-born swimming prodigy is coming off of a record-breaking freshman year, where he broke records in 4 different events for the Sun Devils, as well as being named the NCAA Division I Men's Swimmer of the Year and the Pac-12 Freshman and Men's Swimmer of the Year. But he still feels there's room for growth.
There's a lot of things to improve. That was my first international meet at Worlds, my first NCAA final too. There is a lot of stuff to improve. My backstroke can be better, my freestyle too. I'm working it every day with Bob and the team, so yeah, it's very exciting.
Coach Bob Bowman is no stranger to talented swimmers, having coached arguably the greatest of all time, Michael Phelps. It's easy to compare Bowman's star pupils, but there's a key difference between Marchand and Phelps.
Michael could be very intense, right? Leon's just very right down the middle. He's just like pleasant, happy. I need to do this better. Okay, thank you. That wasn't very good. We should probably work on this. So everything is very even keel with him, and I think that's a separating attribute.
Another standout swimmer for the Sun Devils, Grant House, dubbed this year's team the greatest show on surf. He relishes the opportunity to swim with Marchand.
It's pretty exciting. I mean, it's a testament to this program now. We got guys that are performing across the world for their individual countries. You know, we have David, we have Leon. It's one of the greatest places on earth to be a swimmer right now.
Marchand has big goals for this upcoming season, but they aren't necessarily individual goals.
It's more like a team goal. I think this year we can do maybe top 3 in the nation, maybe more. So yeah, I'm going to give everything to get some points to the team, and everybody is very excited for it.
And perhaps there will be a few more records broken along the way. In Tempe, Jacob Flores, Cronkite News.
Now to a high school swimmer making a splash. Ashlyn Tierney's freshman season has been phenomenal thus far, despite her recent medical challenges. Cronkite News reporter Lindsay Seltzer went to Chandler to find out more about Tierney's journey to success and where she hopes to be in the future.
Freshman swimmer Ashlyn Tierney is off to a fast start at Arizona College Prep. She broke the school record for the 100-yard backstroke and is an essential part of the team.
She's really excelled in everything that this team is about. It's about performance. It's about having performance while still being a family on this team, and she really just fit right into it perfectly.
But not everything has gone swimmingly for Tierney. 2 years ago, out of the blue, Tierney's legs stopped working and went completely numb. Several doctor's visits later, and she was finally diagnosed with conversion disorder, described as a physical manifestation of anxiety.
I couldn't feel my anxiety. I didn't recognize it was even there. So my body kind of just went, okay, if you're not gonna listen to me, I'll make you listen. And kind of just shut everything off.
Tierney remembers that day well. She went to the nurse's office for what she thought was an episode of vasovagal syncope, a condition that makes her faint, which she's dealt with her entire life.
The nurse was aware of that, and she asked me to lift my legs to make sure that things were okay. And I was like, oh, I can't do that. I couldn't feel them from the waist down, no movement or anything.
For the next 3 months, Tierney needed a wheelchair and a walker to get around. And then suddenly, just as fast as they had gone numb, the feeling in her legs returned.
I was at practice one day, and my friend was being annoying and was like, she was flicking me. And she's like, ooh, can you feel it now? Can you feel it now? I was like, oh yeah, I can actually. So she healed me, basically.
Tierney says she's learned to manage her anxiety to keep the conversion order at bay. While she's not worried about it happening in the water, she knows it's something she has to manage daily.
I mean, they're just like any other anxiety techniques, playing with fingers, having, like I wear rings most of the time, or any sort of jewelry I mess with. Listening to music helps me a lot, just to center myself.
And Tierney is central to the Arizona College Prep team with the potential to break several more records during her high school career.
She's always smiling, always positive, very consistent. I think she's humble. So it's just really, she's already a great role model for everybody.
There's so much that she's capable of. It's just, if she pushes herself hard enough, if she wants to push herself hard enough, she could hold half the records on the team if she wanted to.
But for now, Tierney says she's just focused on having fun with her teammates. In Chandler, Lindsay Selzer, Cronkite News.
Arizona College Prep is currently undefeated this season with the help of Ashlyn Tierney.
At Brophy High School in Phoenix, there's a lot of excitement surrounding their freshman football team. Cronkite News reporter Ryan Blank reports on a special group of freshmen that have roots in the NFL.
A new core of freshmen at Brophy College Prep has brought a new juice to the football program.
It's great to have those kind of leaders on the team who they just lead by example. Their friends and their peers see all the good work that they're doing, so it's pretty easy to jump on board that train.
The team has all new faces, but some names that might be familiar to football fans. The players leading the charge are sons of former NFL standouts. Twins Case and Bastion Vandenbosch are the sons of three-time Pro Bowler Kyle. Dalen Sharper's father, Darren, won a Super Bowl with the Saints, while Devin Fitzgerald is the son of former Cardinals great Larry. The pedigree and bond is strong with the newest Broncos.
It's kind of cool having like a little family of us like that, but we don't talk about our dads usually. We just stick to playing with the team and working hard.
It's great. I mean, we treat each other just like everybody else, whether our dads are Pro Bowlers or not. But we just play with each other, succeed, thrive.
I feel like it helps a lot with motivation because we all get that love of football from our fathers, but I also feel like we're also our own players and try to be ourselves.
Despite having fathers who were famous on the football field, the sons felt no pressure from their dads to follow in their footsteps.
I've always wanted to do it since I've been watching my dad, and it's really fun, and I've been playing ever since I was like 4.
Football's been in my life like my whole time, and it's always been something I want to do. Me and my brother have been super competitive, just playing football since we've been young.
And now, the sons will try and live out their dreams, just like their fathers did. In Phoenix, Ryan Blank, Cronkite News.
I'm Diana Quintero. Coming up after the break, I'll have your top news stories. The Arizona candidates for U.S. Senate took the stage on last night's clean elections debate. We have the highlights coming up. Plus, the Colorado River drought is still one of the region's top issues. What California is doing to fight the threat.
Okay, let's go right up in here and start having some fun.
Such a thrill to be able to do this.
Recreation is the gateway drug to conservation.
How do you create that perfect straight edge? You can do anything. History is today. Chasing the American dream.
Experience something personal.
A place of imagination.
I can go anywhere I want to go.
You guys are just gonna love it.
An entertainment experience unlike anything.
There's something for everyone with Passport on the PBS Video app.
On Masterpiece Mystery.
Evil can find its roots so easily in an English village.
The landscape of criminal investigation.
Murder, almost certainly.
Modern policing methods.
We endeavor to do our best.
We're working hard to solve this case.
And to make sure justice gets done.
It's a new adventure.
And the rest, as they say, is mystery.
I can hardly wait.
Art was one of the powers that made life life. I think we all believed that.
This
is a real life story of a real live person.
This was my only connection to my culture.
Fight the power.
Our stories deserve to be heard.
You're passionate and you respect your heritage. That is a perfect recipe.
Now is the time for the Reformation. Now is the time to rebuild the nation.
That's amazing.
You're making me cry.
Some girls can go out there and just steal a spotlight.
This is the moment that we've all been waiting for.
Everyone has something to contribute to humanity. The arts are the thing that does that.
I couldn't have said it better myself.
Welcome back to Cronkite News. I'm Diana Quintero. The race for Senate is ramping up. Republican Blake Masters, Democrat Mark Kelly, and Libertarian Mark Victor faced off in an Arizona clean elections debate. Cronkite News reporter Connor McGill was at the debate and has more on what voters should be looking for this election.
It's a race catching the attention of many across the nation, a race between Democratic candidate Mark Kelly and Republican candidate Blake Masters. On the debate stage, some of the issues talked about range from abortion to border security issues. In their only scheduled face-to-face debate, the candidates frequently clashed, with Masters tying Kelly to President Biden, the economy, and immigration.
Call me old-fashioned, but I think the correct amount of illegal immigration is 0. That's what federal law says. The problem is that Joe Biden and Mark Kelly are willfully ignoring federal law.
I've been focused on the border since day one on this job. I'm down there all the time. I was on the phone this week just, with Mayor Nichols of Yuma, Sheriff Daniels of Cochise County, talking about what more we need for Border Patrol and immigration.
Kelly, for his part, called Masters out on his insults to veterans and his stance on abortion, saying Masters wanted to create a nationwide ban.
Let me be perfectly clear. Arizona women have totally lost the right to make a decision about abortion. It's devastating. It's wrong. And it's exactly what my opponent, Blake Masters, wants.
No, I'm pro-life. I believe in limits. I think we should be more like, how about every other civilized country in the world?
Libertarian candidate Mark Victor also appeared on the stage, noting a number of times that both parties were responsible for bad governance.
Inflation hurts the poor the worst. It's a tax on everything. Why is this happening? It's happening because of both the Republicans and the Democrats. It's their foolish economic policies.
There were a few interruptions in the hour-long debate, but for the most part, the candidates obeyed time limits placed by moderator Ted Simons. All three candidates stuck to their talking points and showed some real differences in how they would lead. In Phoenix, Connor McGill, Cronkite News.
Arizona registered voters can start casting their ballots for the primary election on October 12th. As the weather cools down, health researchers are recommending more people get a COVID-19 booster. New data suggests that boosters could prevent 90,000 deaths this winter. The study was done by the Commonwealth Fund. Researchers found that over 900,000 hospitalizations and $56 billion in medical costs could be saved in the next 6 months. That's if 80% of people were to get a booster. But researchers warned that we could see a winter surge in COVID hospitalizations and deaths if booster levels stay the same. Right now, nearly 2/3 of the U.S. population is fully vaccinated, but only 1/3 have received a booster. California is volunteering to cut back on water usage as the historic drought in the Colorado River continues to pose a threat to the Southwest region. A group of California water agencies announced they plan to cut back their allotted river water usage by almost 130 billion gallons. Together, they usually use about 4.4 million acre-feet of the river's water in just a year. They say this cutback will require funding from the federal climate law, but they did not specify what the money would be used for. In January, Arizona, along with Nevada and Mexico, will be forced to further reduce their water usage in hopes to save the river. Arizona has started to cool down as we get further into the fall season. Sarah Blue is in the Cronkite News Weather Center. Sarah, I hear we're looking at some chances for rain.
Exactly, Diana. Well, we'll be in those 70s in the early morning hours of tomorrow. So if you want to get outside and enjoy those nice temperatures, be sure you go before 10 a.m. when it warms up to 80. Now, we have a chance of storms in our forecast tomorrow. In the valley, we have a 20% chance, but our best bet of that precipitation are these green polygons up in Sholo and Nogales, where we have a 60% chance of rain. But across the state, we have a pretty good chance of that precipitation. That's because we have a lot of moisture in our air. Everywhere that's in this white is that moisture, and that provides fuel for storms. As we have this low pressure hanging out near our state, that's going to whip up all of that moisture and create those storms across the state tomorrow. Into the overnight hours, we'll be in those 70s and 60s down south, even the 50s down in Tombstone and Douglas. Up north, we're going to be in those 50s and 40s overnight. Your highs for tomorrow, 90s all across the western part of the state. Our hot spot is going to be Bullhead City with 97 degrees. Through southern Arizona, we're hanging in those 80s. Up in the high country, though, 70s and 60s, Flagstaff being only 63 tomorrow. But back in the valley, we're going to have those 90s for the next week. We'll have a chance of rain through the weekend. That's what I was talking about earlier. As we head through the rest of the week, we'll hang around 93. And by the time we get to next weekend, we'll drop back down into those low 90s. From the Cronkite Weather Center, I'm Sarah Blue.
As the weather cools down, many people love to spend time around Tempe Town Lake. And that's not the only thing that makes the city so attractive. Arizona continues to top the charts, with Tempe being ranked as the second best place to live in the United States. Money.com released their 2022-2023 rankings for the top 50 best places to live in the U.S. Tempe's active arts and culture scene, affordability, and employment opportunities landed the city at the top of the list, right behind Atlanta, Georgia. The rankings take into account economic opportunity, quality of life, and diversity. That's it for today's top news stories. Back to you, Edison.
Thanks, Diana. Coming up after the break, a Basis Chandler chess player is aiming for more than high school titles. Find out how far he plans to go.
Know what I'm saying?
Try to stay out of trouble.
Where's the fun in that? You know how ladies can be.
I'ma do what I do.
Did you know newsrooms today are looking for bilingual journalists? Cronkite Noticias prepares you to cover diverse communities. In Cronkite Noticias, you will obtain an unforgettable experience.
Nopales como este van a tumbar.
Cronkite Noticias.
And develop your skills with the latest technology.
That way the flavors will marry nicely.
Can you tell me what I'm looking at?
I'm not looking for love, I'm looking for cookies.
And there's still places to discover.
It just absorbs you.
You can make this at home if you can't find it.
I will continue to eat and drink until you get here. Get here fast.
Cheers.
Oh, look at that. Oh, doesn't that look good? We are going to be eating well.
It does work.
It does.
We got a happy little sky.
We're just getting started.
Arizona's had many highly ranked high school players over the years, but one student's arena looks a little different from what you might expect. Cronkite News reporter Tyler Bender has more on a young chess prodigy from the Valley.
Sandeep Setharaman is the top-rated chess player for Basis Chandler. The junior led his team to its second state title last year, as well as winning the individual title. He expects this year to be no different.
Expectation is 36-0 every year, but win every game every year.
But this year, Setharaman has his sights set beyond the AIA board to compete on a more national scale.
I don't think I'm going to play the individual championship this year because I'll have a different tournament out of state.
He's referring to the U.S. Masters, a prestigious yearly tournament that draws top-rated players from the U.S. and internationally. The 15-year-old believes that at this tournament, he can make a push for the International Master title, the second highest title a chess player can hold.
I actually have 2 out of the 3 required norms, and I'm about 2370-ish, and I need to hit 2400.
Despite the skill difference between the AIA and professional play, Setharaman believes that it's all the same game.
A lot of the prep is the same for both. I prep for my out-of-state tournaments by myself and with my coach. Mainly at the meetings, like we play games, and like I think the best way to improve until you hit like 2400, 2200 is to just play games and like learn through trial and error.
Setharaman is so highly rated that he usually doesn't play games against his teammates, but he does coach them. According to Setharaman, it has paid off dividends for the team.
When we started, I was about 2190-ish. Pervit and Aro were both around like 1300. And now in 11th grade, I'm about 2430, and Pervit and Aro are about 1750. So I see like there's improvement every year.
Away from the chessboard, Basis Chandler coach Radhika Guruju said that Setharaman also excels in the classroom.
I think to begin with, a very hard worker. He's definitely very talented, not only in chess, but also in his academics. He's a 4.0 student.
Beyond all of the accolades, Setharaman best enjoys the bonds he's built through the game of chess. In Chandler, Tyler Bender, Cronkite News.
The U.S. Masters Tournament will take place in Charlotte, North Carolina during Thanksgiving weekend.
That's it for Cronkite News tonight. Thanks for joining us. For top Arizona stories anytime, go to cronkitenews.azpbs.org.